Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house today with a good friend of mine from Clubhouse. I've been bringing some people on because it's been a fantastic tool to meet people and connect and find out who aligns with you and who aligns with your mission. And if they're, their mission aligns with yours as well. So Barbara Majeski is our guest today. She's dedicated to living life with purpose and approaching all aspects of living with confidence. And after recovering from her divorce and stage 3 cancer, the curator of the good life was born. Barbara, welcome to the What Are You Made Of show.
I love it. C-Roc, so good to see you and be here today with your audience.
Yeah, it's about time. And I think I'll take full responsibility for this because I don't know why I didn't ask you sooner. I've heard your story so many times, and every time I still am like gripped by it. And I always look for like, okay, what did she share this time that she didn't share last time? So I can't wait for you to share this with the audience today. You are actually a model for what this show's about. And not only you're a model as well, you could be a model if you wanted to, but you're a model for the What Are You Made Of show. So we got to start the show the same way every time, Barbara. The question is, what are you made of?
Wow. I'm definitely made of a lot of grit. I will say that I'm a descendant of Holocaust survivors, and I draw upon their survivorship as if it's my own. I'm really proud of them and being part of their heritage. So I feel like I am built tough, and I'm very proud of it. And I draw upon that over and over again. So I hope that lands.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it's obviously something that you've become more and more aware of throughout your life and through the things you've been through. But before we get into that stuff, I want to ask you a question because, see, I was just talking to my team about this the other day. We're in the mortgage space too. I have a mortgage division that I run. I have a little P&L. I say little, but it's pretty big, under a master company called Nations Lending. And in this environment right now, inventory's lower, rates are going up. People's income is not where it used to be over the last couple of years because we had the greatest years ever. And I'm talking to them about the difficulties you're going through and the challenges you're facing, but then also to reflect on your ancestors. And you just mentioned this, like thinking about what they went through and thinking about the fact that some of them survived, some of them didn't, but the ones that survived and had us, our parents, our grandparents, what have you, they survived a lot more difficult time, I think, than what we have access to now. So when you spoke that, right now about your ancestors, like that just resonated with me with the message that I was sharing with my team. And we talk about performance a lot. And part of performance is reflecting in the past and understanding that we're all so worried about surviving. We're all so worried about, but we're going to survive anyway. Look what happened in the past. So can you speak to that a little bit about how you've reflected on that for the things that you've gone through?
Absolutely. I feel that it needs to be said that tough times don't last and tough people do. And everything is cyclical. So everything is going to go full thing. There's going to be really great times and there's going to be some challenging times, and everything has a way of working its way back. But if you get emotional during the highs and you think it's just going to crank all the time, you are going to crash hard. And if you think in the lows, it's never going to get better, you are going to be, it's like, you're going to manifest your own destiny. So you've got to really steady your pace, steady your emotional cadence, and really understand that tough times don't last, but how we handle the tough times is all we can do. We can only handle how we respond to them, not necessarily a lot of extrinsic factors. And when we take inventory of what we can control, we can make better decisions as opposed to like being on our heels and not forward thinking. So the matter is just really taking authority over the situation that we're in. And when I say take authority over your own emotional response to extrinsic factors. And yes, interest rates are going up, inventory is low. It's like, where's the real estate market going? But you have to take all this in and make your best decisions. And you're never going to be 100% all the time. You've just got to act from your highest state of consciousness at that moment and not come from a fear-based emotionally charged track. Like that, you'll make all the wrong decisions in that track.
Yeah.
So I hope that makes
And
sense.
we're going to get into that higher state of consciousness and manifestation in a second, because I heard you the other day, I think it was yesterday, talking about that you figured that out. I think I've been experiencing some massive results from that recently. So we'll get into that in a second. So I want to hear your story. I want to share your story to the audience. I've heard it. And when you're doing this, I want you to kind of, if you could, reflect on the thoughts that went through your head as you were going through there. Because when we go through tough times, we do sometimes, it creeps in that, oh man, this is the end, or this is it. And in your case with stage 3 cancer, you could have been going through that, of course, but even in business, people feel that way. And they're like, what if we go broke? And what if we have to do this? And all these thoughts start going through their head. So if you could kind of speak to that a little bit as you're going through it. So tell us your story though. Like, where did you grow up, and what was it like being a kid?
So I grew up, I'm one of 2 sets of twins, which everyone's like, wow, back in the 70s.
I didn't know that.
Yes. I have a twin brother. I was an only child for 4 minutes. It was amazing. But twins run in our family. My mother is a triplet. And I have 3 kids. God gives, you can handle. And he was like, one at a time, and a big age difference. But we also have a genetic condition known as Fragile X, which my younger brother inherited. And he has, it's a form of neurological impairment, much like Down syndrome. But growing up, the second set of twins, I'm the first, the second, were like my baby dolls. I was like, they brought home these dolls for me to play at the hospital.
What was the age difference between the twins?
3 years. Almost. Okay. We're April, they're May, 3 years, all Tauruses. So I grew up with 3 brothers, and Steven I always took care of him. And when there's a real takeaway here, because 2 things that I have that have like hit me hard recently. So in 7th, 8th grade, my parents lost everything. The wheels completely fell off, and all 4 of us had to be separated all across the United States. Half of us moved in with my uncle in California, and half were in New Jersey with my mother and her cousin. Now I was with the team out in California, and at one point all 4 of us were out there with my dad and my uncle, living in a studio apartment. There's a fold-out couch, 1 bathroom, 5 dudes, and this girl. And I'm going into 8th grade. It is a terrible time. And it's just and I just remember like, Dad, where do we go from here? And he said to me, he goes, listen, why don't you draw your dream house and also draw architectural plans of how you would lay out the rooms, and start dreaming really big, because that's what we're going to do. We're out in California. You come out to California to land gold. And so I drew this giant brick house with a circular driveway, and I drew 4 bedrooms. I'm one of 4 kids, and I drew 4 bedrooms, each with adjoining Jack and Jill bathrooms. I think I must have saw it at somebody's house or something, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And so flash forward this week, it hit me. I live in a brick house with a circular driveway, and all 4 kids' bathrooms have Jack and Jill adjoining bathrooms. All their bedrooms. I'm like, oh my God. And now I always talk about the power of the pen and how magical it is. Like, you got to get the first step from dreams into manifestation is writing things down. But back to California, when the wheels are falling off. So it's crazy town out there. And we kept getting shuffled around, the 4 of us, right? And at one point I'm out there with those 2, blah, 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 blah. But the configuration that's never separated is me and my brother with special needs, Steven. And we're there about a year and a half, and I'm heading into 9th grade now. And I don't want to do high school in California. I'm like, this sucks. I do not want to live out here. I'm a Jersey girl. I don't belong here. I want to go back and live in New Jersey. So I told my dad, we get to LAX, and I'm taking Steven with me because we're a package deal. Like, I would never leave Steven. Steven would never leave me. Mm-hmm. Well, C-Roc, he wants nothing to do with my shenanigans. And he is like literally just like a full on.
Who Steven was?
Steven won nothing. He was like having a meltdown of the century. We're at LAX, and he is like flat out on the floor of LAX on the carpet. This is why I don't need a vaccine, because, he was on the guard. I was horrible. And I'm like, oh my God. So we're trying to get him through the airport to get to the gate. He's like,
he was trying to be a movie star. He wasn't cool with that leaving LA.
He won Academy Awards. I mean, it was so bad. And so we get to the gate, the plane boards, and my dad pulls me aside. He goes, Barbara, he's not going to get on the plane. You have to board this plane. And the flight attendant comes over and she's like, you two are the last to board. We are leaving with or without you. Oh and gosh. I was in such terror because I was so, my dad's like, I'll stay with him. And I was like, no, Stephen comes with me. My dad's like, last I checked, I'm the father. And I'm like, no, I'll take care of Stephen. So I get on the floor on LAX, again, no inoculations needed for the rest of my life, on the floor. And I'm like, Stephen, you've got to get you. I cannot leave you. I cannot leave you. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure that you're okay. Please follow me onto this plane. And by the grace of God, he gets up and we walk onto the plane. And it's a red eye back from LAX to and by the way, Stephen, after this full on, Emmy award winning drama scene, falls asleep. He's like it never happened. I'm like, but I, C-Roc, am filled with all the feels: rage, love, knowingness, like clarity. I was like, I'm going to make so much damn money, like that, that grit, that such rage, love, clarity, purpose, intention, all the feels. And I plotted my life on that flight back. I said I was going to make so much damn money and I would never fail him. I was like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. We'll never live like this again. And it was like, I plotted my life and I understood what I had to do. Like, I understood the assignment. I'm like, I am assigned to take care of Stephen. And that's what has led me and continues to be my moral compass north of just knowing. And it's been, C-Roc, it has helped me. It's the greatest gift I've been ever given. It's given me no quit, no backdoor. Like at any time, I've always had to figure it out. Like, it wasn't like I had a choice to make money or not. And people like, oh, I want to be successful. I want to save the world. I wanted to make money. Like, I want to be raw and really unadulterated about my intentions when I got out into the workforce. I was like, I have to make money. I have to make sick, ridiculous money. And I don't know how, but I need to learn how to make money. And that's really my story. I think I've been very blessed to have had such a driving purpose that it's led me time and time again to opportunities and people that have helped me really build a great net worth. And I've been able to give back and advocate for him. And that's kind of where you're meeting me today. I'm a massive math manifester is what I am.
Yeah. There's gotta be something in us that's seated really deep for us to drive like you do. And like I do. And that was it for you. And when did you start making money? Like good money? How old were you?
So, you know what, C-Roc, everyone has it in them. And I think that sometimes we get in our own way. Everyone is made of massive potential. And it's not the darkness that scares us. It's the light that shines within us that we know is so obscenely powerful. But narratives and false limiting beliefs have really derailed so many people. Everyone I meet is so uniquely gifted and talented, but plagued with insecurity that inhibits them from truly living out their massive potential. And so to answer your question, because I wanted to tap in that, yeah. I've never met anyone that isn't of massive potential. I just haven't. Everybody like wows me. I'm like, wow, that's damn impressive in their own dharma, their own unique, amazing gifts. Mm-hmm. And when I got out of college, so I got out of college $30,000 in debt because I was checking the box, go to college, get a good job, make money. Like that whole bullshit narrative, I was hook, line, and sinker. Go to college, get a job, make money. Like Then I got started interviewing, and I was getting offered jobs, and it was like, you can make $35,000 a year, and if you do well, you can get a $5,000 bonus. And I'm like, what? I'm like. So what if I outwork everyone? Like, how can I make more money? I was like, that's not enough. Like, I was like, how do I, and nobody was going to offer me any more money unless I was commission based. You want to make money, you have to sing for your supper. Like that's where the money was. Go where the money is. If you want to be somebody's employee and you want a job and you want to get paid, I didn't want to get paid. I wanted to make money. And there is a huge difference that I started learning very, very quickly. Anyway, I ended up in a direct sales company that was a startup. And the key to getting into a good startup is, number one, it had a great bones. Like the concept was smart. I was like, this makes sense. That was number one. Number two, it had tremendous upward mobility because it was a mess. Whereas other people looked at the fact that we were working out of warehouses and we were like flying by the seat of our pants. We were working obscene hours and we were like all driving. I was driving my grandmother's Grand Prix. Like, I mean, we were all just, and everyone else was like, this is shady. And I was like, no, this is not shady. This is opportunity, because other people saw the lack of glamour in our office space. I saw opportunity. And it's like that story of the two salesmen that go to the island and they're shoe salesmen. And the first guy calls back and he's like, nobody wears shoes on this island. I'm heading home. And the second guy calls back and he's like, oh my God, nobody wears shoes on that. Like,
yeah.
Sell out the place. So, you know, that's entrepreneur. That's a true entrepreneur of seeing the pain point and being like, no, that's actually opportunity in disguise. So, and the other thing is that with getting in the right startup is I was with the right people. I was with people that were broke as a joke. That's not the point. The point was they had vision and they had high character, and character isn't something that is talked about. Character is something that is actionable. And Ben Stock says it, your actions speak so loud that I can't hear what you're saying. So if you find a startup and you want to build something, you have to be with right-minded individuals that have high integrity and strong character. And that only comes through their actions. Watch their actions. And I found this guy, John, and I remember him firing our top salesperson in the office at that time, who was literally killing it in the field because she stole pillows from a hotel room. And I was like, oh my God, you just fired the top salesperson. He goes, I am not hiring salespeople. I'm building an empire, and I cannot build empires with people that lack moral integrity. And that was when I was like, oh, I'm with the right bunch of yahoos. And we're all a bunch of yahoos. We're not yahoos no more.
What were you selling?
We went business to business selling telecom. The phones had just been deregulated. AT&T was trying to get a little more. So we were representing AT&T. It wasn't a reseller or anything like that. We were actually representing AT&T, trying to get their piece of the pie. That company's huge now, by the way.
And so
not
you
AT&T, the sales company.
And then so you started, let me have a drink too. Coffee with Barbara.
L'chaim, yes.
Coffee Talk, wasn't that a show?
Coffee Talk.
So then you started making money and you started crushing it. And then how did you get out of that business? And how did you know it was time to get out of that business?
So I did not initially start making money. My first year tax returns read either $12,000 or $14,000. It was so bad. And my boyfriend at the time laughed at me. And he was like, you work 12, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. You have no health insurance. You have no reimbursement for cars. When I would go train people in the field, I had to split my profits, and every day was zero, straight commission, cold call sales. He had laughed for like too long. I was like, really hurt. And I still remember that feeling of like, I don't have to do this. I can go get a real job, because everyone's telling me to get a real job, benefits and salary. But the truth is, anytime I wanted to pull away, I had this like, no, it's not, do not leave this. I don't know. I have these small things, C-Roc, and everybody has it. Do you know that we're the only species that when we sense danger, we don't initially respond? And the best example is a woman getting onto an elevator. If she senses danger, if she feels she's going to insult somebody or hurt somebody's feelings, she'll get on anyway. And it's like, we just dismiss, but that's all I can say is when everyone else was quitting, I just was like, I think this has bones. This has bones. So ultimately the vision, which made sense to me, was like, if we can prove to AT&T that we can bring them better customers than telemarketing, junk mail, radio, TV, billboards, because we went business to business, targeting small business owners, and they only paid us per customer acquisition. Like the logic, I love this company. Like the logic spoke to me. I was like, oh my God, they don't have to cover. It just makes sense. I won't go into it because then I'm going to sell you on like being a distributor. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm not in a market right now.
Yeah. So the thought was, and what stuck to my ribs was the vision made sense. And I could be part of that growth. I was like, I can help develop this. And it was like, if not only can we expand in the space of deregulation of phone service, but energy was deregulating, gas, electric. Then we started getting like internet companies were like, will you go door to door and pitch this? And so I did a trash company once where we went door to door, literally residential door to door, representing. I would be like, hey, I'm here to talk trash. So, but the concept was, if I could learn the fundamentals of door to door sales, but then teach it and scale sales teams, I could scale sales teams. Like the logic was there.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's so smart. But who's willing to go door to door? Very few people. This girl was like, I'll do anything for a short period of time. I will grind it out, and I did that. And then I taught people where I think when I switched gears and I started to do exceptionally well is I stopped caring about my success. My success was a byproduct of helping others. And when I figured that out, like Zig Ziglar says it all the time, like, you can have anything you want if you help other people get what they want. But sometimes that's just like jargon. But when you really do internalize it and then like gear shift and like clutch down and like, you know what? I'm going to sit down with this person and all I care about is what is in their best interest. When I started to develop teams and my scale my offices across, anytime I was like, what's in this person's best interest? How can I that's how I would go into conversations. And sometimes, honestly, C-Roc, I would be tough. I was so like, not mean, but I would be like, this is where the rubber meets the road. You're either going to, shit or get off the pot. You're either, I would do a fire sale. You're either going to sell or you're fired. But I would come at a point of like, I'm not doing this because I don't like you or this is about me.
Right.
I'm doing this because you're not putting food on the table. And I know you're better than this. And I'm that trainer that's letting you smoke cigarettes and have pizza because I want you to be my friend. I don't need friends. I need to teach people how to make money. You want to be you want to see lifelong friends. And let me tell you, C-Roc, these people, my teams that I've scaled, we are thick as damn thieves. I mean, they've known me since I was 20 years old. I'm 40. I'll be 49 in April. Thick as thieves, because I always thought what's in their best interest. And I was like, I got to teach them how to make money. I got to teach them, and sitting on the couch eating bonbons is not going to get them strong. And so I was really hard at times. Are
you still doing that now?
I have a small piece of the pie. I do, but I don't.
How much time do you spend in it? Do you spend much time in it now?
No, not at all. I don't do anything.
Okay.
Not at all. Every once in a while I'll run a call. I know them more personally now. Like these are, but I do have a piece of the action, to say the least. And anyway, the company is now the largest outsourced direct sales company in North America. So
awesome.
Those apples.
So then, okay. So I know we're running short. How are you doing on time? Because there's more I want to get to. Do you have a few more minutes?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Because I want to I got so much I got to get to. You have such a good story. So I got to get to it. So then take me further along. You got married, you had kids, and then you dealt with cancer and a divorce at similar times, right? Like pretty close together.
So bad. When it rains, it pours, and cancer doesn't care what you're going through. Right. So yeah, my marriage had just imploded in a dumpster fire, blaze of glory. And I'm really recalibrating, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm about ready to be a single mother of 3 kids. And I get handed a stage 3 cancer diagnosis. And I'm telling you, C-Roc, my friends were like, oh my God. Because you're like, no, like, and then you're like, oh, I was like, oh, they found a little cancer. Maybe it's stage 1. And they're like, no, it's a
Yeah.
stage 3. And I'm like, and I was like thinking, maybe we can negotiate. Maybe I want a 1, you want a 3. We'll negotiate on 2.
Two.
And they're like, you're not funny. I'm like, no, I really am. But okay. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So remember, as you're telling this story, and you probably have told this over and over again. So, but I want you to think also, like, tell us like the thoughts that went through your head to relate to other people that are listening, as far as like, some people think, oh man, this is the end, or, or what went through your head as you were doing that too?
Yeah, the big breakthrough. So I had 12 rounds of chemo, 6 months. And again, I'm a descendant of Holocaust survivors. So I think I'm tough as nails. And around the 9th infusion C-Roc, I was like, oh my God, I don't have this. It was the first time in my life that I was like, this is bigger than me. I think this is where my story ends. And I was like, 42 years old, my story ends right here. And I took inventory of all the things I was really proud of. But I also took inventory of all the things that I'd left on the table, the things that I'd left undone, whether like for television, I was like, I always wanted to be in TV. Why did I never do that? And I realized I talked myself out of so much because I cared so much about the weight of other people's opinions and so much fear and self-doubt. Like I never thought I was tall enough. I wasn't short enough. I wasn't smart enough. And I was always never enough. And I remember making a vow, I'm like, if I get to the other side of this, crime scene, I will never play small again. I will never let the voices of fear, self-doubt, or the weight of other people's opinions dictate how I'm going to live my life. I'm going to leave it all out on the field. I'm leaving this world on damn empty. I'm never playing small again. And when I did get to the other side of cancer, I was like, all right, Babs, you're a woman of your word. What does it mean? Like, where are you going with this? And I was like, I'm leaving it.
Hold on. Before you go any further, I got to go back for a minute. So when you're running through the relationship situation, and that was going into it too, was it a situation that, like some divorces, like you're trying to hold on to, was it a thing like you were done with it too? Or was it something that you were trying to still work that out and figure that out? Or like, what was going on with that?
I went from chemotherapy to marriage therapy.
So you guys were trying to work it out too while you were going through that. Okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, and, I didn't know if it was like, again, I have no idea. So don't, take offense to this, but
no,
he did something or whatever. And you're just like, no, I'm done. And you were going through it, or if you were trying to work. So you were going to therapy.
You know what the good part about that part of my story that I don't share a lot is, prior to my marriage imploding and the blaze of glory that it did, I would be very judgmental of other people. And I'd be like, if that happened to me, I would walk right out the front door. And like, I want even people that are listening to hear what a sanctimonious asshole I was. Cause I was like, oh my God, I would never tolerate that. And I would never, And unless you walk a mile in somebody's shoes, withhold judgment and offer up compassion and understanding that you have no idea until you actually walk anybody's walk. And this whole experience has made me a better person, because when my marriage did implode, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I have 3 kids. Like, I don't get to grab my kids and run out the door, like Gone with the Wind and Scarlet, like some sort of dramatic exit. And everyone's like applauding me as I'm like standing in my power or whatever bullshit. I didn't have that because I had my 3 kids. And I had a friend say this to me, C-Roc. They're like, if that ever happened to me, I have too much self-respect to do what you're doing. And it stabbed me in the heart. Now, she later redacted that because I think she saw that it hurt my feelings. And I also said very quickly and kindly, I said, I have 3 children. I don't get to sabotage their life in a reckless blaze of glory. I have to really, again, it's like you make emotional decisions. You are going to you don't know in that moment if you're making the right one or the wrong one. It's too fooled and it's too polluted to know. So I'm so grateful that I had the sensibility to say, I need to put my kids first. And I need to assess what I'm doing. And I put in the work, C-Roc. I showed up to personal therapists, couples therapists, chemotherapists. Like, I was like, okay, can we fix this? And eventually it was not fixable, for a multitude of other reasons, but my marriage did not fail. I took it as far as I could go with him, and I have 3 beautiful children. And I am so grateful that I had the chutzpah, and in Yiddish that means the cajones, the balloons, to leave and to reinvent myself and to say, this does not feel, there's like a law of diminishing returns. And I was like, we're actually at a detriment to each other.
Yeah.
And so now I want to live my second act. So I hope that answers.
Yeah. No, because then as you're going through that, you're trying to work through all that. You're going through chemo too. So it's like, it's not that you were just going through chemotherapy and radiation, all this stuff. Did you lose your hair, by the way?
What?
Did you lose your hair, by the way, when you were going through all that?
I lost my mind, but in chemo for colon cancer, you don't lose your hair.
Okay. Gotcha.
You lose everything else.
Yeah, because you were talking about your memory and your sharpness. I remember you talking about this before.
Done. That was the worst part, C-Roc. I used to fire on all cylinders. Like, I'm a good listener, and I would look at people. I didn't know their names anymore. I couldn't articulate myself anymore. I stopped driving a car because I couldn't at times, only because I could not concentrate long enough. I was like, all over the place. So yeah, the neurology from colon cancer chemo, the chemo brain it's a real thing, and it really sucks.
Yeah. So then you got clear of it, and I think mine went out. Mine went out this time.
Okay.
You got to be kidding me. All right. Well, my camera's over here, so I'm going to keep this screen on instead of that one because it works better. But anyway, we're recording still. So what I said was you got through that. And then how long until it came back, until your mind came back and you're like, got sharp again?
I don't think it's back.
You're still dealing with some of it?
So it's kind of funny. I was in the middle. I spoke at 10X Ladies, and there's thousands, it's a huge crowd. And right in the middle of it, I'm like, I don't remember what I was talking about. Like, I lost my train of thought, but that's part of, and then I want to, you brought up something about authenticity earlier, or you triggered something in me about it. But yeah, I just am living out loud, like, flaws and all. I'm like, oops, I forgot. Like, I brought up something about a plane, and then I was like, why did I bring that up? I was able to recover. I was like, oh, I remember. But that's part of that's who I am now. There's this Japanese pottery called Kunsugi, which is where, if a piece of pottery in Japanese culture, if it breaks and you put it back together and you infuse the cracks with gold, so the pottery is more valuable in its new form with all of its cracks and broken parts than it was ever in its original form. And that is how I feel that we all are. We're actually we are a higher expression of ourselves, because we can serve humanity better because of the things that we've went through. And just like I was saying about when my marriage imploded, and I looked back on the sanctimonious pre-self that would judge others, it allowed me to have more clarity of mind that do not just, suspend judgment of others, suspend it, replace it with a compassionate understanding that everyone's battling something you know nothing about. And that has been one of the most powerful transformations for me, because when you judge others, it is strictly a reflection on how you judge yourself. And you are putting up massive blocks of abundance in your face and in your energy path. And when you melt away, just because you're like, I'm no longer going to judge others, I'm going to replace it with compassion and kindness and a knowingness that I don't know what they're dealing with, man, like things, you know why? Because you see everyone as an ally, as opposed to like, they're not good enough, or they're too good for me, or they're not, like all of a sudden you look at communities and relationships with an abundance mindset of like, how can we like work together or grow together or just laugh together or whatever. I am such a better person because the universe dished me out something that I deserved. Like not that I deserved anything, but
It's
I'm
a wake-up
grateful.
call, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a different person, and I feel like I'm a better version of me because of all the crap that I went through. So I don't look at anything as like, oh, I'm a victim. I'm not a victim.
Well, but Barb, do you think that people realize that they're judgmental? And
No,
and I
because
think it's great that you brought this up in case they're not, and they can become aware. And self-awareness is huge, right? In developing. So
I think I say this all the time, and if you guys should go to my webinars because I talk about this at my webinars start here. You need to do a checkup from the neck up. That conversation that you have with yourself, it's been said, is the most important conversation that you have each and every single day. But until you actually hear the crap that you are running on loop in your head and how it is really sabotaging you, you cannot fix something until you know it's broken. But with all good intentions, our caregivers, our loved ones do embed in our subconscious mind bullshit that is so defeatist and unserving and useless. And I hear it all the time when people just get to know me, and I stop them. I'm like, no. Like, don't, your thoughts become things. Like, let's change the narrative and let's make you the victor of your story, that the hero. Everyone's on a hero's journey, but are you telling it that you realize what kind of hero you are? Do you realize what you've overcome? Do you realize how fucking amazing you are? Like, look what you have overcome and where you're at today. You're a baller. And I think too many times we're not geared to remind ourselves how unbelievable we are. And that's what I like doing, is helping.
Were you just talking about in general, or were you talking to me? I'm just kidding with you. You said you're a baller. I'm like, oh no, wait. Oh yeah, I am. No, 100%, man. 100%. And it really bothers me. I was talking to my team this morning on our sales call. It really bothers me to see wasted potential, or people that don't realize what they have inside of them. And it actually hurts my heart. I was telling a story about when I was growing up, and we had a football team, and there was an African-American section of town where we lived. And all these kids would we would play like little league with them when we were smaller. But as we got to high school, none of them played football with us. And they had, oh my gosh, like the athletic ability. And so I was telling the story this morning as a kid, how it used to hurt my heart. I don't know why or where it came from, but I used to, not so that we could win, but I really cared about these kids that could have they could have made millions. They could have had their college paid for. And it was like, so I was telling my team about this morning, and it's not a race thing, but I was just telling a story about these particular kids. And man, like, it really hurts me to see that, and so anyway, getting on to the next thing with this.
Can I say this? I want to say this. You cannot bring up a person that doesn't want to be brought up. That is not something that I made up. I read that last week, and it is so true. You can't want it more for somebody else than they want it for themselves. And I will say, I was on in a clubhouse room, and Angel, one of the top moderators in there, made this comment, and it landed with me. She goes, wealthy people, successful people think differently. They talk differently. They say different things. And you don't realize it because you and I have probably put ourselves in environments with very like-minded thinkers and doers and believers. And we have an aversion to negative talk, excuses,
100%.
Debbie Downers. Certain people, we just are like, that's gonna please get your negative bullshit away from me. I can't even it's like we have an allergy. We have an allergy to
Emotions
bullshit.
are contagious.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, like, I love when somebody's around me and they're like, I want oceanfront property. I'm like, I do too. Like,
Let's do
and
it.
oh my
Jet. I want a
God.
jet.
Yeah. And I want to be around those people of like, they don't, and again, a checkup from the neck up. If somebody's talking about private aviation, are you like, oh, must be nice. Oh, look at them. They're just bragging again. Or
That's the must be nice. No, we call that the must be nice crowd. We have a name for that. It's the must be nice crowd. Yeah. Must be nice.
And it is actually, it is very nice.
It is.
But a lot of people have this. Why don't you transcend jealousy by choosing curiosity? Choose to be curious. Be like, all right, tell me more. If you find yourself irritable and bitchy and all the things, why don't you just stop yourself, do that little checkup from the neck up, stop yourself and just say, okay, tell me more, hotshot. I want to know how you're going to do it or how you did it or why you did it. I want to know more. And then you're opening up yourself to possibly be influenced in a very positive trajectory. But man, people can be like, oh, must be nice. I'm like, I had friends that poo-pooed all my crazy.
that's what I want to talk about next. Like you went to get like follow your dream into TV and television. And then there was the messages that you received. And one in particular, I remember you talking about. Do you want to tell that story?
So you mean the mean email?
Yeah. Cause this is what my book's about. Like I don't get pissed. I just store it in my tank, man. And I'll show you, son of a bitch. Like, that's just what I think about it. But yeah, tell that story.
This is good because I realized that nothing is put in your path to break you unless you let it break you. It is there to build you. So I launched my second career in television. I've never been in TV, and I had to overcome this one thought, like this terrible cassette that I had to eject out of my brain, because I was like, well, what are people going to think? And what are people going to say? Because I knew by getting into TV, I had to start at the lowest end.
Yeah.
Because I'd never done it. I remember saying to myself, oh my God, what are people going to think? But thank God in my breakthrough in chemo, I had said, I'm never going to let the weight of I do not care what other people are going to say or what they're going to think. It's so empowering. I was like, oh, I don't care. I'd rather be a coffee runner for a 25-year-old producer than not know what it's like to be in TV. I decided I would rather take a no, this isn't a field for you, then I'll never know. So anyway, so I'm rebuilding my career. I get booked on the Today Show, Inside Edition, Nick Cannon. I'm all over the place. Things are going well. Pandemic hits, right? Wheels fall off for all of us. I have to transition in like everyone else.
Whoa, hold on. For the time so I can understand the timeline of this. So back in 2020, when did you start trying to get on TV? What year was that? Like roughly
2017. Diagnosed 2015, chemo 2016, 2017.
Okay. So and then what were you doing? What were you doing when you got into TV?
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had launched sales teams.
No. I mean, like when you got into TV, what was your role when you got into it? And then when you got on the Today Show, like what was your role?
I immediately got into lifestyle and entertainment. Like my producer was like, you would be great to do lifestyle and entertainment. I'm like, whatever you need me to do. I'm like, if you need me to, and I remember saying this, I'm like, if you need me to go to the bowels of New Jersey and talk about a sewer fire, something, I will do it. I showed up with a do whatever it takes mentality. Yeah. And I learned that in sales of like, I am in it to win it. I will roll up my sleeves. I will clean bathrooms. I will fry the fries in the fryer. I am not afraid to start, but I know I'm not, hold on. Sorry. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to be stuck there. And I did put this on silence, but anyway, so I got into lifestyle and entertainment, and yeah, so so I was doing that from home. I'm doing like stay-at-home tchotchkes and whatever through the pandemic. And I'm also going through a divorce. I'm in a mandatory lockdown by the legal system is like, you are in lockdown with your future ex-husband and your 3 kids, one roof. Mind you, he has an estate down the street with his girlfriend and her baby. And and it was like the worst of the worst. Like, so it was so bad. C-Roc, I was like, is this a nightmare? Am I actually, but it's not a nightmare because what you choose to focus on, you choose to focus on.
Yeah. But look, I can see like when you're going through that, and you have a neighborhood, and you have the people that like, man, we're in Ocean City here. There's things that happen here like that. And, I've been married 19 years. My wife and I, we've been, luckily great marriage, but we've had our ups and downs back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. But for anybody else to pay attention to that and care about that, like, they should only support you if they really care about you. But I understand what you're saying. It's like, it was like a not an e-movie, but like a soap opera, like something like you stepped in right into like a soap opera drama.
But I had a roof over my head. I had clean food. I had like a lot I have to be grateful for. But in the middle of this crime scene that I'm dealing with, which we're all dealing with, I'm homeschooling 3 kids, right? I get this email and I'm trying to like support small businesses, and I'm just trying to keep myself relevant while we're all working from home and we're not allowed in the television studios. I'm going through a divorce and all of this. And I got an email and it was so mean. It's actually so mean that I posted it. I mean, it's been a year and a half or maybe 2 years, but it's been 2 years since I got it. But I posted on my Instagram reels with music because it's so bad. But they cut me to the chase. Like, they were like, the subject line reads, "Barbara, stop embarrassing yourself. Your second act silliness." And it goes to town on what an imbecile I'm making of myself. Like, just cuts me. And then C-Roc, the crescendo is that this person clearly knows me because they made mention of a hotel that I had stayed at and how I had gotten there on a private plane. And nobody knew that. I didn't put that at the Times years ago that I flew private. Only I don't know.
Wait a minute. So you still don't know who it is?
No, I don't know who it is.
But who do you think it is? If you had to guess.
I decided not to, because that makes everyone a suspect.
That's true. That's true.
This is what I've learned. Number one, although my feelings were hurt because they called my second act very silly. And now every time I do something like speak at 10X Ladies, I'm like, how silly is my act right now?
Yeah.
Or if I go on like Nick Cannon, I'm like, I'm just being silly up here, just living my best damn life. Or if I like go on some amazing trip, I'm like, I'm just being silly. Oh, me and my silly little plane trip that I just bought.
A silly trip. I love it. No, look, I've dealt with this stuff too, and I can relate. And when I started my podcast, all my friends, the guys at the golf club, the country club, a bunch of them, my best friends, my business partners would make comments and digs right to my face. And, at first it hurts, right? At first it hurts, like, you believe this? Then I realized it's just a reflection of themselves. And second of all, 100%. If I can harness this energy that's coming here, I can be unstoppable. And then that's what I did. And now, like, when I get that, I just know, okay, I need to push more out. And so, I've been through that as well. But it wasn't necessarily anonymous, but it was actually like right to my face, And so I'm with you. I love it. I want more of it.
I feel more for me in the experience, because it doesn't stop. It's like building a muscle. Like, in order to have a really good muscle of intestinal fortitude, resilience, perseverance, you have to build those muscles. You can't buy it at Barnes and Noble. And when somebody does something like that to you, it actually, like, a muscle is broken down. Like, we're not impervious to having our feelings hurt, but when that muscle builds, it builds back stronger. And what I'm finding is that when something comes at me, like I was in a top 12 list in Clubhouse and it wasn't a nice one. I actually made honorable mention. I didn't make the top 12, but it wasn't a nice list to be on, but Grant Cardone was on it. And so was Ben Stock. So I was like, all right, at least I'm in good company. And it doesn't,
I didn't hear about this.
What matters is that when it came in, I laughed about it. Whereas I think somebody with a lesser constitution and less experience in the arena and getting knocked down would have been really moved off their center. Because I see people get really jockeyed off their goal or their ambition, because they're like, oh my God, somebody said this happens and that happened. And they're like, literally like a turtle on its shell. And I'm like, because so much has come at me, I am really tough. And I'm only tough because I've been through tough times. And so I really transcended. And that email now gives me a lot of laughter, and it gives me a lot of like recognition. I would never sit down and pen that to somebody else. That is strictly somebody in a bad place. People in good places do not waste their time stalking people on the internet and then cutting them down and being like, all your friends don't have the heart to tell you that you're embarrassing yourself. I'm like, really? Because friends would actually approach me with constructive feedback.
And I'll get new friends.
And you know what? I'm good. But C-Roc, I look at that. I'm like, I keep going, and I keep getting knocked down here and there, but I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing. And let me just put a little bow on this entire conversation. When I was in my chemo and I was bumping up against that 9th infusion, and I didn't just take inventory of everything I left on the table. I also took inventory of all the things that I had done. I put myself through college. I had built a sales company in my 20s. I had taken over as my brother's legal guardian. I have launched philanthropy initiatives that have given me humanitarian awards. I have done so many things that I thought, this is what my kids will know about me. And I was really proud of.
Legacy.
Here's what I will take from this. The legacy that I left all hinged on this. I wanted to quit everything that I ever started. I wanted to quit working my way through college. I wanted to quit that sales company. I wanted to quit everything I've ever done that I was really, really proud of. And the reason I didn't quit is if I quit, I kept saying, I'll never be able to take care of my brother, Steven. I will never be able to provide for him if I don't figure this shit out. And in that moment, I said, thank God I was always taking care of Steven, because I would have quit everything. But in that very same thought, I was like, oh my God, it was never me taking care of Steven. It was always Steven who took care of me. See, Steven gave me rise to the greatest gift we can all be given. And that's the gift of purpose. He gave me no quit, no back door. He gave me figure it out and get it done. And when I saw that in its highest form, I said, I will never play small again. I will never let the voices of fear, self-doubt, or the weight of other people's opinions stop me from living out my purpose, my calling, my servitude on every stage and every way that I can. And when that email came in, I had to be reminded, why do I put myself out there? Why do I keep doing this? I don't have to work. I don't have to work, C-Roc. Everyone knows this, but I have work to do. And I am a woman of my word. And when I say I'm going big, I go big. And ultimately, as my profile escalates and I get to keep moving the needle, I can use my voice to speak for those who can't speak for themselves, and help others see that they are of massive purpose and massive potential.
Yeah.
And I am unstoppable. So if you ask me what I'm made of, that's what I'm made of.
Love it. I love it. So look, to wind this down, what's the vision for the future?
World domination. I'm looking to grow a multi-million-dollar Barbara Majeski brand that is all about helping others get out of their own way, live their best damn life, not wait till they're confronted with their own mortality, and be a real estate mogul and leave a true legacy of living life with purpose, style, and adventure.
Love it. Love it. What can the audience get engaged with you on? What do you have going on right now? Where can they reach you?
It's Barbara Majeski. You can just Google me. I'm all over the place. But most importantly, I'm launching a summer series right now, and I am helping people stay committed to their goals. I'm tired of the collective of unfinished business. I am showing people through my coaching program that you can finish what you start by breaking things down to non-negotiables. It is a limited series. It's on right now. And I am telling you, C-Roc, it is on fire. So if anybody's interested, they can go and slide into my DMs, DM me summer, because it's all about what we do now predicates how we're going into summer. And it is beast mode. Awesome. And we're killing it.
Do you have a link or just DM you on Instagram?
It's Barbara Majeski /summer.
Okay. All right, guys, if you need it and you can't find her, just hit me up. I'll make sure we find Barb because I know how to, I'm seeing her every day on Clubhouse and talking to her every day pretty much. And
I love Clubhouse.
that's the funny thing too. It's like, we don't realize this, but where else have we ever been besides a job and our families where we hang out with the same people every single day? It's just crazy, or nighttime, or, different types of rooms. It's just wild. But listen, Barb, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. And you're always transparent and vulnerable to help other people. And I know from what you just said, I know we'll be working together on some kind of project, something in the future. And that's what I'm very good at. I'm very good at seeing the future. And I'll talk to you more about that as we get offline. So thank you very much for being here, Barb. And thank you all, the audience, for being here, supporting the What Are You Made Of podcast, your boy C-Roc, and everything that I'm into. Keep coming back. Go subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Or if you'd like to watch these, you can go to YouTube at Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco. Until next time, be unstoppable.